Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving into something that's reshaping how businesses actually deploy AI in 2026. Anthropic just rolled out two very different products, Claude Managed Agents and Claude Cowork, and a lot of people are confused about which one to use or even what the difference is. By the end of this video, you'll have a crystal clear picture of both, and you'll know exactly which one fits your situation. Here's the thing that surprises most people. These two products are powered by the same Claude models, the same Sonnet 4.6, the same Opus 4.7. The difference is not about intelligence. It's about where the AI runs, who it's built for, and what kind of work it's designed to handle. Getting this wrong means building the wrong tool for the wrong job, and that creates serious friction. So let's start at the beginning. To understand why Anthropic built these products the way they did, we need to go back and look at a problem they ran into when building earlier agent systems. Back then, if you wanted to deploy Claude as an autonomous agent, you had to build what's called a harness, a wrapper that managed the agent's execution loop, its memory, its tools, and its environment. And this worked fine at first, but it created a hidden time bomb. Here's what that time bomb looked like. When Claude 3.5 Sonnet was running long tasks and sensed its context window filling up, it started rushing to wrap things up prematurely. Engineers called this context anxiety. The fix was to hard code a forced context reset into the harness. But then Claude 4.5 Opus came out, and it simply didn't have that anxiety anymore. The model had evolved past the problem. Suddenly, the hard-coded reset logic was doing nothing useful. It had become dead weight. The infrastructure couldn't keep up with the model. So Anthropic went back to basics and took inspiration from how operating systems solved a similar problem in the 1970s. Instead of coupling everything together, they split the agent into three completely independent layers. First, the session, an external durable log that records everything that happens during a task. Second, the harness, also called the brain, the orchestration loop that calls Claude and decides which tools to use. And third, the sandbox, also called the hands, the actual environment where code runs, files get touched, and the web gets searched. These three pieces can now evolve independently of each other. That architectural insight is the foundation of both Managed Agents and Cowork. Claude Managed Agents, which launched in public beta on April 8, 2026, is built for software developers, B2B SaaS founders, and cloud architects. It's not a chatbot, and it's not a no-code builder. Think of it as a hosted infrastructure service, a set of APIs that let you deploy and run production-grade autonomous agents in the cloud without having to build all the scaffolding yourself. Anthropic estimates it would take about 5 weeks of engineering time to build the container sandboxing, session persistence, permission systems, and error recovery from scratch. Managed Agents compresses that into a few API calls. The security model here is particularly impressive. Every agent runs in its own isolated Linux container hosted by Anthropic. If an agent gets tricked through a prompt injection attack on a malicious website, the host system is never at risk. The damage stays inside the container. But there's something even more elegant. When an agent needs to connect to external services like GitHub, Stripe, or a web scraping API, it never sees the actual credentials. The API keys are stored in a secure vault, and authentication happens through a proxy layer that injects tokens automatically. Even if the agent gets compromised, your client credentials can't be stolen because the agent never had them in the first place. And because the session log lives outside the container, this architecture delivers a dramatic performance improvement. When Anthropic switched from the old coupled design to this decoupled approach, they saw the time to produce the first token drop by 60% at the median and by over 90% at the 95th percentile. In plain terms, the agent starts responding to users much faster because it doesn't have to wait for a container to spin up before thinking. Inference begins the moment the orchestration layer pulls events from the session log. The pricing is also transparent. You pay standard API token rates for whichever Claude model you use, plus 8 cents per hour of active session time. Now let's shift to Claude Cowork. Anthropic's research team noticed something interesting. Many non-technical knowledge workers, marketers, finance analysts, legal teams, operations staff were trying to use Claude Code, which is a command-line developer tool, just to get access to local file automation. They weren't developers. They just needed something that could touch their actual desktop files and do multi-step tasks without them coordinating each step manually. Cowork was built to solve exactly that problem. It's Claude Code's power, reimagined as a native desktop application for people who will never open a terminal. What makes Cowork genuinely different is that it runs on your actual local machine, on Mac or Windows, with real access to your operating system's file system. You don't upload files, you just point it at a folder. The range of things it can handle is broad. It can reorganize hundreds of disorganized files by content and date. It can take a folder of scanned receipts and PDFs and produce a properly formatted Excel spreadsheet with formulas and correct categories. It can even handle something as complex as what one legal professional described. They had over 500 mixed PDF evidence documents for a multi-year lawsuit, and Cowork autonomously divided the analysis into 35 separate sessions, wrote a master strategy file to track progress, and completed the work without any manual coordination. That kind of multi-step, multi-session document synthesis is where Cowork really shines. But giving an AI direct access to your local files means you need strong guardrails. Cowork is built around what Anthropic calls human-in-the-loop governance. Before it takes any consequential action, a large batch delete, a system configuration change, sending an email, it stops and shows you exactly what it's about to do and asks for your explicit approval. Enterprise administrators also get fine-grained controls over which local folders and which external connectors each employee's Cowork can access. The one physical limitation worth knowing: Cowork requires your computer to be powered on and running. It can't operate on a server while your laptop is closed. So how do these two products actually compare? Think of it this way. Managed Agents lives in the cloud. It has no access to local files on anyone's computer, only to temporary virtual file systems inside its containers. It's designed for developers building products that serve many users at once. Cowork lives on your desktop. It has full access to local files, but it can't scale the way a cloud service can. Claude Code sits in between, a terminal-based tool for developers working on their own codebase. The mistake most teams make is applying the wrong tool to the wrong environment. Using Cowork to build a multi-tenant SaaS backend will hit immediate scaling walls. Using managed agents to organize a local file system requires unnecessary engineering overhead that most knowledge workers simply don't have. Now, where do Anthropic's competitors fit into this picture? OpenAI's ChatGPT agent, formerly called Operator, uses a cloud virtual browser approach. It's sandboxed, safe, and great for web-based workflows. But it can't touch local files. Google's Gemini Enterprise Agent platform, rebranded from Vertex AI at Google Cloud Next 2026, offers a powerful alternative to managed agents for teams already deep in the GCP ecosystem. And for teams that need full data sovereignty or can't afford vendor lock-in, open-source options like OpenClaw and LangGraph let you build similar capabilities on your own infrastructure. The protocol layer is also a major battleground. Anthropic's MCP standard has been adopted even by Google and Microsoft for tool connectivity, while Google's A2A protocol is emerging as the standard for cross-vendor agent-to-agent communication. So here's the strategic takeaway for 2026. If you're a developer building a product that needs to run autonomous agents in the cloud, handle long tasks securely, and scale to serve many users simultaneously, Claude Managed Agents is your answer. If you're a knowledge worker, or you're building tools for non-technical teams who need AI to work directly with local files and desktop applications, Claude Cowork is the right fit. And if you need agents from different vendors to work together across your organization, start thinking in terms of MCP and A2A protocols. The winning enterprise AI strategy isn't picking one God agent and hoping it handles everything. It's deploying the right tool in the right environment, connected by the right protocols. That's it for today. See you in the next one.